will take you straight to Parliament. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has just arrived for the NDA Parliamentary Party meet. The Prime Minister is flanked by Kiran Rijiju, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, also by Minister of State in the Prime Minister's office, Personnel and Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh. The Prime Minister has arrived for the NDA Parliamentary Party meet. The Prime Minister is to address the parliamentary meet, Parliament of the NDA partners very shortly. The Union Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, they've also just arrived a short while ago. Arjun Ram Meghwal also seen in these images. This is a very major NDA parliamentary meet amidst US President Donald Trump announcing a trade deal with India. But when it comes to the NDA Parliamentary Party meeting, India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is to present budget highlights at this meeting. So that's one part. And two, the implementation of that budget, the roadmap, the Prime Minister's directions to his government for the implementation of this budget once approved. That is also something that will be discussed in this parliamentary party meet of the National Democratic Alliance. The Prime Minister is to address this, just a short while back after President Trump tweeted about the trade deal. The Prime Minister was very careful and mark his words. What did the Prime Minister put out on social media? The Prime Minister had put out a message saying, "Wonderful to speak to my dear friend, President Donald Trump. Delighted that made in India products will now have a reduced tariff of 18%. Big thanks to President Trump on behalf of 1.4 billion people of India for this wonderful achievement." When two large economies and the world's largest democracies work together, it benefits our people and unlocks immense opportunities for mutually beneficial cooperation. President Trump's leadership is vital for global peace, for stability and prosperity. India fully supports his efforts for peace. I look forward to working closely with him to take our partnership to unprecedented heights. This is what Prime Minister Narendra Modi had put out on social media platform X after President Trump's message on Truth Social about a trade deal with India that would bring tariffs to 18%. Sergio Gore had told India Today that the Russian tariffs, the punitive 25% Russian tariffs are also set to go. Overall, the tariffs would be 18% on Indian exports. But again, we are waiting for details on when the deal would be inked. The officials will be working now on nuts and bolts. The opposition is already asking, what about India's red lines? Have India's red lines been respected? There are voices from America that talk about agriculture sector, but India was very clear, no entry to India's agriculture sector. Is there a give there or no? India's dairy sector, that's again something that India is very clear on. Milk, butter, cheese. There are some high-end products that America says can be given access to Indian markets. Are we looking at that? Are we not looking at that? Those details will only emerge when a statement is made by the Indian government. So President Trump made an announcement. Many in America have argued, and several analysts in America have argued, that the reason for this is the India-EU trade deal announced by Ursula von der Leyen in Davos. And then again, after Republic Day, when the deal happened here, America blinked. I want to quickly cut across to Aishwarya Paliwal, who joins us with the latest. Aishwarya, give us details of what we will witness and what will happen after, during and after this NDA parliamentary meet. Okay, give me a moment as we try and reestablish this link with Aishwarya Paliwal. This is extremely crucial because the budget and the road ahead, implementation of this budget becomes very crucial. As far as the Narendra Modi government is concerned, the Prime Minister has constantly made that point that the effort is to put things in place for a Viksit Bharat or a developed India by 2047. The deals that are happening, there are 8 deals already done with India, EU, India, New Zealand, with several Gulf countries. There are several deals, both bilateral and multilateral. But when an India-US deal is finally inked and implemented, an India-EU deal that's already done, of course, again, it has to be ratified, go through legal scrubbing and scrutiny. That would also take apparently between 6 to 8 months. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal was very clear. India-EU trade deal will be in effect within by end of 2026. India-US, how long will that take? Now, that is what we have to wait for. But a deal with the world's largest economy and the largest trading bloc would be advantage India exports. Now, I have Professor Sabyasachi Saha, Associate Professor at Research and Information Systems for Developing Countries, joining me on the broadcast. Rahul Ahluwalia is Founder Director of Foundation for Economic Development, joining me on the show. Badri Narayan is Executive Partner at LKS, joining us on this show. And Badri Narayan, sir, how do you look at President Trump talking of a trade deal and 18% tariffs for India? However, there are certain details that we're still waiting for, and we're still waiting for an official word from Government of India beyond what Prime Minister Narendra Modi put out in public domain, sir. How do you look at this?
Good morning, Gaurav, and I think a warm welcome to everyone. I think this has been a great start to the morning. I think the announcements over the night have been great, and they've been great for multiple reasons. As you know, that when President Trump took his presidentship in January last year, he imposed 25% tariff across the board on India. And in August, as a retaliation to Russian oil purchases by India and generally because of the Russian-Ukraine war, he imposed 25% extra tariff across the board on all our commodities and goods. And that basically made our exports absolutely uncompetitive, especially compared to the ASEAN countries, especially like Vietnam, Thailand, and other countries. One of our big major sectors, textile and chemicals, were very, very badly impacted. And we've been advising many of them on how to kind of manage this entire thing. And this trade deal is absolutely excellent for India for multiple reasons. One, the extra 25% punitive tariff of 25% goes away. We bring this back to the normal tariffs. And we've got an advantage over the ASEAN countries. We are at 18%, which is lower than what some of the other countries competing with us on crucial products like textile, chemicals, footwear, toys are getting. And of course, we get preferential treatments, what we call as MFN, on multiple line items with respect to some of the other products. I think all in all, extremely good.
So you are saying it's extremely good all in all. Rahul Ahluwalia, tremendous skepticism, especially after what transpired in the last 7 to 8 months in our deal with the United States. Considering February 2025, everyone was very excited. But post-April, May, and especially when the punitive 25% tariffs came in, these are inside visuals of that meeting where the Prime Minister is now seated. This is the NDA, it's a very key NDA Parliamentary Party meeting. Okay, let's try and listen in. Kiran Rijiju, Parliamentary Affairs Minister speaking. Let's try and listen in.
मैम प्लीज थोड़ा सा
फ्रंटल जाओ ना, इधर से क्या मिलेगा?
चलो चलो
Standing ovation for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He's being garlanded. No, it's the new BJP president, Nitin Nabin. it's the new BJP president who has just been garlanded. Prime Minister congratulating the new BJP president. A, a generational shift in the Bharatiya Janata Party. He's here for the NDA Parliamentary Party meet.
बिहार विधानसभा में सदस्य रहे हैं और पिछले 5 साल लगातार हमारे भारतीय जनता पार्टी का अध्यक्ष पहले बार आए हैं, तो इसलिए बैठक का शुरुआत उनका गर्मजोशी के साथ स्वागत से हम शुरू करना चाहेंगे। मैं आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, हमारा वरिष्ठ नेतागण, एनडीए के पार्लियामेंट्री पार्टी जितने भी फ्लोर लीडर हैं, सब मिल करके आदरणीय मोदी जी का स्वागत करने
Playing these images of the new BJP president Nitin Nabeen being garlanded and welcomed at the NDA Parliamentary Party meet. He does, of course, he's hitting the ground running with very, very crucial elections in multiple states in a couple of months. Aishwarya Pariwal joins us with the latest. Aishwarya, so lots of news to be discussed here. The union budget, the Indo-US deal. Will some details trickle out in this meeting?
Well, definitely, Gaurav. You know, the meeting has just begun, and let me tell you, in the next half an hour or 40 minutes, we will get to know what the Prime Minister has spoken with the NDA leaders. From what I'm gathering at the moment, Gaurav, Prime Minister will speak about the fact that this is a budget which is on the roadmap so that India becomes a developed nation by 2047. Viksit Bharat, that is the core theme. Let me also tell you, Finance Minister also, you know, when she met us, she made it very, very clear that what we are trying to do now is to make sure that the policies are right, because it's the policies on the basis of which we will see that stride being made by India, moving from being a developing nation to being a developed nation. Prime Minister Modi will also be talking up to the NDA leaders and will be telling them, and that is the focus, let me tell you, an entire roadmap has been made. The union ministers, they have been asked to make sure that their people, their state people understand what exactly is in the budget. And in the coming days, Gaurav, you will also see lots of press conferences taking place across the country to tell the people what exactly this budget is for and how it will benefit them. So those are the things that the Prime Minister will be speaking about. And what we are seeing, this, you know, softening of the stance, Gaurav, coming in from the US, the main reason for this is the mother of all deals that India has now signed with the European Union. So that's something that Prime Minister Modi will be speaking about, and we will see the top leadership of the NDA speaking about it and making sure that India states also, they work around the same thing. The policies need to be the same, and they all together need to march so that India becomes a developed nation by 2047. Gaurav.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is being felicitated for the India-US trade deal in place. Kiran Rijiju, Parliamentary Affairs Minister, he's in fact giving details to the NDA meet on... Okay, let's quickly listen into Kiran Rijiju.
India Mauritius, India Australia, India UK, India New Zealand, और कल रात को जो प्रस्ताव है इंडिया यूएस ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट का टैरिफ घटाने का जो घोषणा हुई है, ये साधारण अचीवमेंट नहीं है और विश्व भर में भारत का जो एक कद, भारत का पहचान, भारत का नेतृत्व का एक परिणाम है कि इतने देशों ने भारत के साथ विश्वास करके, पार्टनरशिप करके भारत के साथ एक साथ चलने के लिए फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट करना, ये देश के आम जनों की जिंदगी को बदलने के लिए, भविष्य को, हमारा देश का आर्थिक व्यवस्था को मजबूती से आगे ले जाने के लिए बहुत बड़ा अचीवमेंट है। बाकी डिटेल तो बाद में बताएंगे, लेकिन अभी तो हर्ष और उल्लास के साथ हम चाहते हैं कि पूरा एनडीए पार्टी के लीडर्स, विशेष करके एनडीए के अलग अलग पार्टी के जो फ्लोर लीडर्स हैं, मैं सबसे अनुरोध करता हूं कि एक अद्भुत ऐतिहासिक जो अचीवमेंट फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट इतने देशों के साथ और कल अमेरिका का साथ जो अमेरिका राष्ट्रपति जी का घोषणा के साथ जो न्यूज देश को खुशी के माहौल में रंगा दिया है, उसके लिए मैं आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का अभिनंदन के लिए सारे एनडीए लीडर्स को धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं।
Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju listing out all the trade deals that India has inked so far and how India-EU trade deal and India-US trade deal are extremely significant, of course, as are all 8 already in place and the 9th that is likely to be inked first, and what this means for Indian exports. NDA partners seen in these images. How is this to be taken forward now in terms of implementation on ground, whether it's the budget or whether it is the trade deal, how it impacts, that is something that will be spoken about in greater detail. Once again, let's try and listen in to Kiran Rijiju.
India, UAE
Is being garlanded. Praful Patel of the NCP now garlanding Prime Minister Narendra Modi, all NDA partners, Defence Minister flanking the Prime Minister, BJP President and Home Minister with him, Nitin Nabeen and Amit Shah. And Amit's chants of Bharat Mata Ki Jai, the Prime Minister waves to all NDA partners. Very, very crucial. We will wait to hear from the Prime Minister. These are, of course, some of the images that have been put out. First, the new BJP president, he was felicitated. And then Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the India-US trade deal that was announced by US President. We just read out what Prime Minister Narendra Modi had put out on social media platform X on 18% tariff on made in India exports to the US. Piyush Mishra now joins me for more. Piyush, it's a huge shot in the arm, the India-EU deal, and now, of course, conversations on India-US deal.
Well, that's right, Gaurav. After the mother of all deals, India-EU deals, now we have the greatest ever deal which has been inked with United States, where the tariff has been brought down from 50% to 18%. It's indeed a significant achievement for India, for the commerce industry, for the trade departments, and that's what we also saw being echoed in NDA's parliamentary party meet. Remember that the meeting began with the felicitation of our newly appointed BJP National President Nitin Nabeen, who was felicitated by all the 4 leaders of National Democratic Alliance. After that, Kiran Rijiju, who is a Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister, he spoke about the trade deals those have had India with those have had in the last few months with various countries, be it about European Union or with Australia or with UAE. There are various countries with whom we have signed unprecedented trade deals, and of all the deals, the greatest ever deal is India-US trade deal, in which the tariff has been brought down from 50% to 18%. About that, Rijiju was giving all the information, and soon after that, we also saw he requested all the parliamentary party leaders of NDA to come out and felicitate PM Narendra Modi for this big achievement. We also saw the visuals of all the 4 leaders of NDA coming out and garlanding PM Narendra Modi felicitation programs took place, where all the leaders have felicitated PM Narendra Modi. Soon after that, Bharat Mata Ki Jai chants were also heard. In fact, Prime Minister after that also waved at all the NDA leaders. Those were present. So as of now, as we are speaking, PM Narendra Modi is present there. The meeting is still underway. The meeting is likely to continue for another 1 hour or so, where most likely Prime Minister is going to talk about the budget, the kind of big announcements that have been made. He is also likely to speak about the benefits the trade industry is going to have because of this unprecedented trade deal which has been signed between India and US. He is likely to put his focus also on the India-EU trade deal and parts of which India has had India is the only country which is also enjoying the lowest tariff. There are multiple emerging markets, Gaurav, like China, Pakistan. There are other economies, but among all these economies, India is now having the lowest tariff, and that is also huge, significant. We remember, Gaurav, that as to how in the last few months, multiple trade negotiations have happened, trade meetings have happened. The group of leaders from India, secretaries from India have traveled to US. From US also, team had also come. So multiple negotiations have happened, and after that itself, we are now seeing how this trade deal has been inked. And after this trade deal, which has been signed, we are now seeing as to how the NDA leaders are congratulating and also feliciting PM Narendra Modi for this huge achievement.
So, India EU deal described as the mother of all deals. President Trump then said that, that's nothing. There will be a daddy of deals, or words to that effect, when the India US deal happens. Any word by when will the deal be inked, and any details on what the fine print is? Because there are several aspects where clarity is still lacking, Piyush. Are we likely to see the parliament being briefed first on this?
Well, no doubt about it. We are expecting a word coming in from Union Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal, where he is likely to brief the Parliament on this big achievement. As far as inking of the deal is concerned, the final contours of this deal is concerned, we are expecting that to also be out. But the primary thing, the first thing of bringing down the tariff that has been agreed upon by the both the countries, the US and India, and that's why we also saw the kind of social media posts. Those were not only put forth by US President Donald Trump, but also by PM Narendra Modi, thanking Donald Trump for agreeing to bringing down the tariff. Now, after this decision has been taken, we will see more and more decisions to be taken by both the countries as far as signing trade deals are concerned. What more sectors are going to be impacted? What more, things are going to be discussed? That will be decided in coming future. But this deal is being seen as the greatest ever deal. And today, throughout the day, when the discussion on budget will take place, when the discussion on motion of thanks to the president's address will take place, we will see BJP speakers especially talking about India, EU trade deal, India, the US trade deal, and also they're going to thank PM Narendra Modi for his visionary leadership that has helped the country to achieve such a huge milestone. There are Indian leaders also, Gaurav, who are present in this meeting, and even they were very much happy with the fact that India has been able to bring US on tables and has also been bring down the largest ever tariff.
Absolutely. 50% tariff is what India faced at one point of time. It will come down to 18%. Sabyasachi Saha, your reading of the enthusiasm. So we see markets, they've reacted positively. The NDA is reacting positively. The opposition says there's tremendous skepticism because we still do not have details. How do you read this?
Ordinary, because so far we had kind of certain concerns how to go about the US trade deal, but I think the strategic patience, the leadership of the Prime Minister, the government's own effort has led to dealing with such a situation where we had to face immense trade barriers in the US market. Even as we talk about diversification, US would remain a very, very important trading partner for India for multiple reasons. And at this point, the way we have regained the confidence among the political leadership, as well as strengthening the trade linkages. It is absolutely the numbers that have come in, the tariff commitments from the US side. So all this definitely signal stabilizing trading relations with US again, and definitely markets were waiting for such signals for a long time. The sentiments had to be boosted, and I think the trade deal at this point looks very, very positive development for India.
Is that also your reading, Mr. Ahluwalia, that this is very positive, markets reacting positively, but a word of caution, we still do not have details as the opposition points out?
Yeah, no doubt about it, Gaurav. I think absolutely extremely positive. I would not personally worry so much about what the opposition is concerned about, as in what are the terms that the US is going to get. Trade is a win-win. Even if the US gets good terms, it's benefits to the Indian consumers. if we have segments that are going to be concerned, like farmers, like dairy producers, we should protect those people directly instead of protecting products, right? It is never sensible to protect products. We should protect people. We can give direct benefit transfers. We can help them out in other ways instead of blocking trade. So that's not what I would worry about. The thing that we have to watch out for is implementation. Implementation is an extremely crucial thing. We've seen Donald Trump go back on South Korea and say, we are going to cancel this trade deal, right? Because they're taking too long to ratify it. So implementation is going to be extremely important, both in terms of ratification and in terms of how our customs deals with goods coming in from the US, deals with goods coming in from the EU, because that is one reason that we have failed to take advantage of trade deals in the past. It's that our customs still creates issues at the border, even though there is a trade deal between the two countries. But other than these two aspects, I think this is fantastic news. EU, US, both happening. These are the biggest trading blocs in the world by far. There is nothing else that even comes close. So we should absolutely feel very good about this at this point in time.
That's a very positive note, in the morning, that we should feel fantastic, or we should feel very good about it. Professor Saha, is your reading, considering India-EU deal, negotiations finally done, may take 6 months to a year to put pen to paper for it to be implemented on ground? Do you see the same kind of time frame when it comes to India-US deal also?
No, I think since this has been announced last night by the leaders of the both countries, and we definitely had a very long-run process of negotiations with the US, and the concerns that were raised. At the same time, this has been a very, very intense process. So I think here on, it should not take a very long time to come to a implementable framework on both sides.
Okay, Badri Narayan, in your view, and wearing your legal hat, what are areas that India can be happy about, that it's a big win for India, and what are areas that you would be concerned or skeptical given the limited information in public domain?
I think a few areas I think India will be very happy about. One is going to be textile, others going to be toys, and areas such as chemicals. I think those will be areas which automatically I think everybody will be very happy about. I am a little bit concerned about areas like steel and aluminium. These are big exports by India. As you know, India always faced various custom duties, anti-dumping duties, safeguard duties across the world when it comes to our steel manufacturing. And as you know, we have overcapacity of steel manufacturing in India. And generally, the world goes ups and downs when it comes to steel. It's a very, very big commodity. Other area could be automobile and automobile exports and automobile parts. Again, we'll have to see how those are going to be played out in the future. We'll need more details with respect to that. There will be other areas such as pharmaceuticals. I'm hoping that healthcare is one of the areas where US wants to reduce its impact from a price perspective, and therefore it'll encourage Indian pharma. But that's one area where, again, there could be an impact. We'll have to see how the details churn out. So I think these are the areas that I feel are concerned. I think US, I think the benefit that they're going to get is I think they're going to do more transactions with us on high tech. So their interest is selling nuclear reactors, giving us Boeing planes, defense, which typically we've gone towards France or Europe. I think that US would want to supply to them. And I think India is quite happy to pick it up. I think that's really going to be there. The one sore area, which is probably going to be something that we'll have to look at, is going to be agri. Okay. India protects its agri, US protects its agri, but it's an area where both the countries have tried to get access to the other countries. US has always been, for US, it's very important to sell things like soya, soya beans, and other agri products to countries like India. India has resisted traditionally because India has been self-sufficient, and the cost arbitrage is not that various. There could be
Rahul
certain
Ahluwalia,
areas will be there, but I think mostly
you
will be
agree
areas.
with that? And before I come to you to respond to this, because a trade deal, while it's called as a win-win, it's win some, lose some. Is that how you look at a trade deal. Now, when we look at what is in it for India, there are those who say it's easier access to the US market. Is it at the cost of strategic autonomy, as some argue? The opposition is already asking, why is it that the Americans are now making announcements for us, whether we buy oil from Russia or we buy oil from Venezuela? Are we losing that strategic autonomy? We have, of course, lower tariffs on our exports. That's a big gain, and especially when it comes to not just MSME, but also textile, leather, large labor-intensive market. But is losing Russian oil a disadvantage for India, or getting cheaper Venezuelan oil offsets that? Rahul Ahluwalia, where do you stand on this?
Look, on this strategic autonomy question, I mean, we anyway are doing what we need to do, right? So the US is the world's largest economy, most technologically advanced economy. They are opposed to our largest adversary, which is China. We have been clearly signaling that our strategic doctrine is to be closer to the US for at least 10 to 15 years now. And I don't think that there is anything wrong with that. It makes sense. It is in our strategic interest. Russian oil is an extremely sort of minor thing. It is anyway now as expensive as other oil. It's not that Russian oil is coming at a big discount. Russia is a country that has not been growing. It has in fact been shrinking for the last many years. It is not a country of the future. So are we sacrificing our strategic autonomy by doing what we anyway want to do, which is to align with the world's most powerful and economically large country? No, I don't think so. I don't think that this is a sacrifice.
That's a very powerful point that you make, Rahul Ahluwalia.